This story is about human nature and how greed can be stronger than the ties of family and friendship. Greed, competitiveness, lying, shifting allegiances, and even cheating, all the result of cutthroat capitalism. But I knew how this was going to end, even before it started.
Those things will kill ya.
Thanks. And so you might ask, to your ultimate surprise, where did the story begin? My sorry tale begins at this neighbourhood on a wet winter's afternoon. The rain took the fun out of what was supposed to be a friendly get-together with our family and friends.
Well, this isn't a lot of fun.
Well, I'm glad somebody said it.
What a challenge to get the blood pumping. Let's see who's the best at making money. What have you all got to lose?
Andy was the banker in the group, always fixated on money, always needing to be in control, never comfortable with anyone else handling the finances. He was Mr. Get Rich or Die Trying. He proposed this challenge amongst the four of us to see who could amass the most amount of real estate and cash in the shortest possible time. To put things into perspective, I wasn't exactly sure what I'd got myself into. Like all things in life, success would require a sound game plan and lots of help from Lady Luck. The rules of the competition were very simple. Everyone started with the same amount of cash in their pockets and had to grow their wealth by real estate investment, property development, or being in the right place at the right time. At this stage, I should point out that good fortune with money was not a strong suit of mine. In fact, I usually sucked at it. It's not that I'm dumb or can't add up. It's just that I don't like taking big risks. My view on winning this competition was through stable, low-risk investment. But that strategy wasn't going to work when the difference between fortune and bankruptcy could come down to the roll of the dice. Cousin Andy was far better placed to succeed in a high-risk, winner-takes-all competition.
You see, I've been a gambler for as long as I can remember. If there's one thing I learned from being a banker, it's to always, and I do mean always, have extra cash up your sleeves. As expected, in no time, I was way in front with water cash, shares in a big power company, 5 houses, and 10 blocks of land. And I gotta tell you, I love being me. Hey, crap, a better coffee than that.
My sister Stacy couldn't help it. Being a bitch was in her nature. She bitched when anyone else made a better investment than her. She bitched when she lost money. She even bitched when she made money, that she should have made more.
I was mortgaged up to the eyeballs. I was about to sell my last property to cover unpaid rent. I thought I could cheat my way to the top. I would argue for property I didn't have and ask for more rent than was due. Like most people who tell lies in business, I did well for a while. And then I went straight to jail. I went to jail a number of times, in fact. Ruth and Richard were the only ones who visited me while I waited to get out.
For a girl with no money sense, Ruth was actually doing okay.
I had money and property. Not in an expensive part of town, but the rent was adequate. Andy kept giving me advice, but I didn't take it. I was suspicious of his motives. He kept suggesting I buy a property that I couldn't afford, the latest of which being a 2-house development in Marvin Gardens.
As for me, luck finally seemed to be on my side. I had picked up some good properties and earned some good cash off them. I also made some easy money on the side and had enough to invest in the prime block of land that I owned. It had a house on it, but I could get rid of that to develop a small hotel on the site to increase returns. It had passing trade and people dropped in on their way past. So what the hell? I went for it. It would leave me cash strapped for a while, but I thought I could hold on. Things weren't exactly going Stacey's way. Once she got out of jail, she made some really bad moves that cost her a lot of money, and the bank finally shut her down.
See you, Stacey. Same time next week then? I was bankrupt, without a cent to my name. I was quick to tears and even quicker to anger. The accusations tumbled from my lips as my face twisted with rage at the realization that I'd lost everything in this stupid competition. I accused them all of plotting against me, of cheating, and enjoying my failure.
While I felt sorry for her, we all played by the same rules, and any one of us could have been in her shoes. Andy seemed to enjoy Stacey's downfall. seeing as she was his biggest competition. Ruth and I had formed a loose alliance and started to help each other out on some investments. This was largely because Andy's wealth continued to grow and grow. We needed each other, even if only to counter Andy's seemingly endless lucky streak. But after I had invested in the hotel, things started to change. I saw Ruth accepting loans from Andy and taking chances she normally wouldn't take. I knew I was vulnerable at this point and wondered if this had been their plan after all.
It was around this time that Andy revealed his true colours. I had listened to his advice and invested in property and lots of houses, but I was cash strapped. At the point where I was at my most vulnerable, when I trusted him most, he swooped. After one bad setback for me, he called in all his loans and I couldn't pay. The house of cards that was my investment portfolio came crashing down around me and, like Stacey, I was bankrupt.
That left Andy and I in the competition. I looked at his smug face and wanted to beat him so bad. Why should life reward that sort of behaviour? He was everything I hoped not to be in this competition. We still had lots of money in real estate and was now buying Stacey and Ruth's properties. This guy's greed knew no limits. Just when I thought Lady Luck had smiled on me, she turned her back. Andy had obtained more money through a life insurance policy maturing, and I was only hanging on by my fingernails and needed my next salary payment to come in order to stay in the competition. This was it. This was endgame. One last chance to win this competition. Fuck this game.